Welcome Year 9 parents and hopefully some Year 9 students as well. Thank you ever so much for joining us this evening for our online GCSE options evening. Before we begin, I'm just going to pass you quickly over to our Head of School, Emily Hopkinson.
Hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We are really pleased that you want to learn more about the GCSE options process and what subjects are available to your sons and daughters that are going to begin Year 10 in September. Hopefully you'll find the evening very informative. Please do use the chat function to ask any questions that you have, and we will answer them at the end of the session. Hopefully then you'll be able to drop into some subject talks to learn more about what every subject entails. So I'll now pass you back to Miss Eyre.
Thank you, Mrs. Hopkinson. So I just wanted to say a massive hello. This is one of the first times that perhaps I have virtually met quite a few of you. My role at the school is the assistant head, and I look after Year 10 and Year 11 students. And so part of that role is to support both you as parents as well as students through choosing the correct GCSE options. So the aim for today, I hope, is to allow you to understand our GCSE curriculum in a bit more detail, to allow both you and your child to make confident choices about the option subjects at GCSE, and to generally reassure you about the process moving forward. Now, before we begin explaining how the curriculum works, I just wanted to share with you a few of our results that we are incredibly proud of. As you can see, our GCSE attainment is really quite remarkable. Last year in 2021, massive 58% of our students got a 9 to 7 in their GCSEs, which is the equivalent of an A star and an A. So not only are we securing good passes for our students, but we're securing fantastic passes for our students. Something that we're even more proud of at the school is not just our attainment, but actually our progress. And what that says to us is that students are not just meeting their potential, but exceeding their potential. And actually last year at GCSE, 79% of our results saw students exceed their potential. So as you can see, our curriculum is well structured, and it allows our students not just to enjoy their subjects, but to thrive academically as well. So the way that this evening will work is we have part 1, which we are in now, the Zoom call. Oh, my lights have just gone off, and part 2 with subject specialists. And at the end of this part, the Zoom call, you can then go into different Google Meets with subject specialists and ask them any subject specific questions. So I'm just going to pass you over now to Laura Murphy, who is our Higher Education and Careers Advisor, and she's going to give you some advice about making informed choices for your option subjects at GCSE.
Thank you very much, Miss Eyre. Now, this is such an exciting time because it's the first time you have ownership over your subjects, and that you are able to start filtering down the subjects that you enjoy. It's also can be quite stressful for some students, because up until now we've told you what you've been learning, and now you have to start making decisions about your own future. So I just want to reassure students and parents that our whole team is here to help you make those choices. So how do we make informed decisions when approaching GCSEs? Now, the first thing to do is take a look at your reports and look what subjects you are successful in. If you have been thriving in certain subjects through Key Stage 3, they may be the ones that you want to continue on with because you've been securing good grades throughout Key Stage 3. Secondly, what do you enjoy? You are committing 2 years, 3 hours a week, plus homework, plus revision to this subject. We want you to enjoy it, and we want you, this is the time when you can start making decisions and getting rid of some of the subjects that you don't enjoy as much, And it does show, if you enjoy a subject, that you tend to do better in it because you're willing to commit more to it. So what are you successful in? What do you enjoy? The next kind of layer of things you might want to think about is looking towards the future. What transferable skills can it help you develop? Does it encourage creativity? Does it help with analytical thinking? All of these skills that you might need later on in life, how can your option choices help you develop them? It is really, really important that you choose the subject because you are interested in the subject, not because you like the teacher. That teacher might not be your teacher next year. You don't know how the timetable is going to fall. So if you are picking a subject because you love a particular teacher, or maybe because you're not so keen on one, please don't do that, because there's just no guarantees to how the timetable is going to be structured. It has to be the subject that you enjoy, not based on a person or what your friends are picking. Again, if we're picking based on that, it's not going to guarantee success. Do you enjoy the subject? Are you successful in it? Think as well about your spread of subjects. So how do they assess you? Is there coursework in them? Do you want one option that is a bit more practical? Because that also gives you a nice broad range of subjects. Ask the subject leads what is actually on the course. Do not make assumptions based on Key Stage 3. I know, me myself, I am a drama teacher, and the Key Stage 3 curriculum is very different to the Key Stage 4 curriculum. So speak to the people who know it best, speak to older students, come and speak to me for impartial advice, and I can kind of point you in the direction of what is actually on each course. Don't just pick things in the spur of the moment. Really think about it. Talk to your parents, parents talk to your child, talk to your tutors, and again, talk to the team that are here. Now, every student in Year 9 does also have access to UniFrog, which is an absolutely amazing tool for seeing where subjects can lead. So if anyone, it is built into our pastoral programme, but if anyone wants more support and help using that, they can pop by and see me in the office, and I can show them how to use that a little bit more confidently. So we've got lots of different things to think about there. I really want to kind of put the message across though, do not worry. At this point, you cannot make a mistake. Because you have to study science, maths and English, that covers you for all of the A-level options later on, because some schools don't offer particular GCSE subjects. So we look at those core subjects to get on to particular A-level subjects. So again, an example, as a drama teacher, if I had a student who had not done GCSE drama, I would look at their English grade. If you do have any concerns about what options to pick, what is a good mix, please, please, please speak to me. Thank you, Miss Eyre.
Thank you very much, Miss Murphy. So hopefully that has reassured you about the things to consider before you choose the option. I just wanted to outline what our process has looked like so far and where we're going moving forward. So before the winter break, students had an assembly, and then today we completed those taster sessions, and I've spoken to a few students in Year 9, and it sounds like they had a really good time, but also it was very revealing for them. Today is obviously our options evening, and then the final option choices will be due from students on Wednesday the 9th of February, which is 2 weeks from today. I will be sending out a Google form, which I'll explain to you in more detail later on in this presentation, but just to let you know what that process looks like. Now, obviously, Miss Murphy has touched upon this ever so slightly. The curriculum at GCSE is split between compulsory subjects that all students sit, as well as 4 option choice subjects. Now, the main purpose of today is to allow you and your child to understand what 4 subjects from this option choice list here you will be selecting for GCSE. However, I know there will be lots of questions about the compulsory elements of the GCSE curriculum. And so we've asked our head of faculty for English, Maths, Science and Arabic just to share some details about their specific subject. So the first person I'm going to hand over to is going to be English. So Miss Marin, are you there?
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you very, very much. So at GCSE, English is broken down into English language and English literature. So at current in Key Stage 3, English literature and English language are taught combined with a range of different skills that are interweaved through the text that we teach and the way in which we teach. But when it gets to GCSE, it's a little bit different. So with our curriculum, it's broken down into English language and English literature. So there are some skills that overlap when it comes to reading, such as analysis, evaluation. But for English language, there is also a writing element as well. So English language is broken down into a fiction paper, paper 1, and a non-fiction paper, which is paper 2. And all students will be doing English language. For English literature, at current, we do have nearly every single student that does sit the English literature course as well, as we do believe that it's very important for students to be able to access a range of different texts. The texts from English literature also help with the skills from English language as well. And with English literature, we cover a lot of familiar plays and texts that the students might have heard of, such as Shakespearean texts, and we also cover 19th century texts as well. So it is a really good way of being able to improve skills from Key Stage 3 by doing both English literature and language. As well, at English language, there is an element of spoken language, which all students must do as well. So the spoken language element is a form of a coursework where it's done within the classroom, and students have to deliver a spoken piece as either an interview or a presentation, and that's just done within the classroom, and that's then awarded a distinction pass or a merit, and that accompanies the English language element. So I will talk through this a little bit more in detail if you pop into the Google Meets later on, but I'll pass over to Ms. Davidson, the head of maths. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Marin. So mathematics at AEC, we study the international GCSE. So it is equivalent to a GCSE. It is just designed for non-native English speakers. So it involves a lot less words and much more numbers, which is obviously what we're fans of. We obviously want to get an understanding of number, geometry, algebra, and statistics. But as maths is unavoidable in our lives, we are really, really passionate about developing all our students to actually have a love for mathematics and be passionate about it themselves, because it is essential for most future career prospects. Now, students will sit 2 exams at the end of year 11. Both are calculator and they are both equally weighted towards their grade. There is a foundation tier, which can get you grades up to grade 5, and then the higher tier, which you can achieve up to a grade 9. Now, you will have noticed further maths is not an option, but it does not mean it's not possible to do. I would prefer it if students get this as an additional award. So students who really excel in maths will get the opportunity to see the topics from further maths. And then at the end of year 11, they can then receive 2 GCSE equivalent awards for their maths and for their further maths. However, maths should always be prioritized over further maths, as it is essential and a necessity for further studies. And even if a student doesn't study further maths at GCSE, it doesn't stop them studying A-level maths later on. But again, drop into my Google Meet a little bit later if you've got any questions at all about maths or further maths. Thank you. I think it's Mr.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Davidson. I'm just going to pass over to Mr. Harkinson, who's going to talk through science.
Good evening, everyone. Science is ever so slightly different as a core subject because there are two different routes in which it can be completed. So every single student at the English College will initially be doing combined science. And in fact, those students in year 9 have already started that course. Some students, however, will choose triple science from the option blocks. So the way that works in terms of lessons is every single student starts off with 4 lessons, and those that then choose the triple science get the additional 3 lessons because it's from the option block. So in total, that would be 7 lessons. Both routes actually consist of 6 exam papers, 2 in biology, 2 in chemistry, 2 in physics. So when they changed the syllabus in 2016, I think the new name combined science confused a lot of people and they thought it was a bit wishy-washy, it wasn't real science. In actual fact, it is. It's better than the previous course that used to run. It's more robust, there's more content, it challenges students a lot more. But both routes consist of 6 papers. Higher tier, much like maths, you can get a higher tier, grade 4 to grade 9, foundation tier, grade 1 to grade 5. In combined science, students are awarded 2 grades. It's a double award. So those 2 grades might be the same number, such as a 7-7, or they could be 2 different numbers, but only over 1 number apart. So I've given 2 examples here of a 6-5 or a 4-3. Triple science students get 3 individual GCSE grades for their individual sciences. So they might come out with 3 7s. 1 for biology, 1 for chemistry, 1 for physics. They could end up with a 7 and 2 8s. It could be any kind of combination based on how they perform. One thing to make very clear though is any student, whether they've done combined science or triple science, can continue on to A-level sciences as long as they've met the entry requirements. So combined science, as long as they achieve a 7-7 or above, they can take on any of the 3 A-level sciences they want. Now, last year, if I remember correctly, about 47% of our year 11 combined science students achieved a grade 7. That's almost 50% of them. So that is really, really good. Triple science, they must get the grade 7 in that particular science they want to continue with. So if they get a 7 in GCSE chemistry, they can do A-level chemistry. If they get a 7 in GCSE biology, they can carry on with A-level biology and so on. And if you could change to my second slide. So the way that it works in terms of content is everything that triple science students do is exactly the same as combined science, but then they do more content on top of that. It's a very robust course, like I said earlier. However, there's a lot more content in the triple course. So we have more to cover, there's more to be assessed on, and they do then get those 3 individual grades. In terms of going beyond GCSE, beyond A-level onto university, in the UK, in the US, they don't really look at GCSE science, whether you did combined science or triple science. So you don't have to do triple science at GCSE if you want to study medicine in the UK, for example. However, there are some Arabic-speaking universities where that is a different case. And I know that Egypt, for example, depending on which course the student wants to study at university, it is important whether they've chosen triple or combined. And Miss Murphy is the best person to advise you on that, depending on which country your child is looking to then go to university to later on. So if you're unsure, please speak to Miss Murphy. Otherwise, we're going to cover all of these things in a bit more detail in the Google Meet afterwards. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you ever so much, Mr. Harkinson. So finally, I'm going to pass over to Mr. Carey, who is our lead for Arabic.
Hello, everyone. The Arabic in year 10 and 11, we have the Arabic for year 10 is compulsory for everyone. All the students, they have to take Arabic as ministry subject. And also, but if it comes to year 11, it's changed to option for the non-native students. But any student who is holding the Arabic passport, he has to take Arabic for year 11, 12, and 13. The Arabic in year 10, a part of the MOE, which is compulsory for all the students, and no one cannot choose to not take it. All of them, they have to do it. They still can take the GCSE as option and also IGCSE. along with the ministry as well. So they will not study GCSE. If they choose to take IGCSE or GCSE, they still need to do the Ministry of Education curriculum. For the GCSE, it's tailored and it should be for the non-native, but some of the students, they choose to take it for some reason. It's up to them, but they should be aware that if they are holding Arabic passports and they are going to study in Arabic universities, they will not accept the GCSE from them. But for the non-native, it's fine to do the GCSE. For the student who is holding Arabic passport and they want to take IGCSE, it's fine to do it, and also it's accepted in all the universities. It's up to them. And if they want to go to Arabic University in Egypt and Jordan, it's fine. It will be accepted. But first, they need to ask the university if they need it or not. So it depends on the university that they are going to apply or to rule on it. However, finally, the MOE is compulsory for all. For year 11, 12, and 13, only for the students who are holding Arabic passports. For the GCSE, we have the higher tier and also the foundation tier. For IGCSE, we have only one. There's no like higher and foundation. It's only 2 papers the student need to do. It's cover many topics. One is writing, and the other one is like assessing the understanding that overall, and also cover all the grammar in Arabic. Thank you so much. If you have any question, you can drop in the meeting.
Excellent. Thank you ever so much. So hopefully that has clarified some questions about the compulsory subjects at GCSE. But as I said, the main focus of this evening is thinking about selecting 4 option subjects from our option blocks. So up on the screen, you can see our provisional option blocks. These were created based on your child's pre-option form that they completed before the winter break. Now, the process will be that you will choose 1 subject from each block, and then we will ask for 2 reserve choices. And this will allow us then to have the flexibility to review the block system and try and ensure that we meet as many preferences as we possibly can. So, for example, in the Google Meet, that will be Google form that will be shared with your child at 6:30 by email today. You will select 1 option from block A, 1 option from block B, 1 from block C, and then 1 from block D. So I've modeled here the block D. So if this student had chosen block D drama, we then move on to choosing our first reserve option. And obviously we're going to make sure that whatever our reserve choice is different to the options that have already been selected. So in this instance, the first reserve choice is art. The form is very straightforward, and as I said, will be sent to students. Of course, any questions at all, please do let me know. The Google form can also be accessed by this QR code or using the link below. And please do remember, we have our option booklet as well, which talks through every single subject, what the requirements are in regards to exams, coursework elements, and a description of the course. So this really draws us to a close on the first part of the options evening, which is explaining the process and curriculum. And now we welcome you to join the subject leads on Google Meet, which will start at 6:30. Of course, if there are any questions from you guys right now that you would like us to address, we will stay on the call for a few more minutes. Please, could I ask you to enter those questions into the chat bar, and then I will ask Mr. Edmonds if he can help me just collate those questions and organise how we answer them. So thank you ever so much for your time and for listening. As I said, this form will be emailed to students. The deadline is Wednesday, the 9th of February, so 2 weeks from today, plenty of time to consider those choices carefully. And if there are any questions, please do email me. Mr. Edmonds, do we have any questions?
We do, Miss Eyre. Right. So we've got a question about separate science and whether we can escape biology if we target computer engineering. And it's basically asking is, can they select the sciences that they do? I can answer that one, being a scientist. So combined science is the minimum. So you would need to do all 3 sciences. And to be honest, the scientific method comes across each and every subject in science. And then with you would then need to select triple science in the block in order to get more chemistry and more physics, but you can't select the sciences. I see that there was a question about Arabic, but I believe Mr. Harry has answered that in the chat. Next one is, how long does a student have to change their minds if they feel they have chosen the wrong subject?
That is a really good question, and I now, as I hear it, remember it was in the FAQ, so apologies for not addressing that. Now, of course, in a perfect world, we really hope that students are confident in their choices because they have gone through an options process and they've completed tasters and you'll be speaking to teachers. So in most instances, switching of subjects will not be happening anyway, because fingers crossed, everyone is happy with their choice. If in the unusual circumstance that for whatever reason a child has made the wrong choice, within the first 3 to 4 weeks of school in September, there is the scope to apply for an option subject switch. Now, obviously, class size and timetables will be taken into consideration. And usually what we do is walk the student through some advice. We generally try and support the student in why. Sometimes it's not that the choice is the wrong choice, it's that maybe actually the overall shift into a GCSE curriculum is making them feel overwhelmed. So we try to problem solve. We then obviously seek the support of the subject specialists to get their advice about how your child is getting on in lesson. But of course, you know, there are going to be those situations where the subject just is not right for that student. And so we will go into conversations about that up until week 4. Beyond week 4, we're then into 12 or more hours of learning being completed in that GCSE option, and therefore it's just not feasible to be changing students' subjects beyond that point. Of course, academically, it puts pressure on the student, but also we're thinking about well-being here, and actually trying to catch up and independently learn more than 12 hours is going to be very stressful. So if we ever were to switch a subject, it would need to be the right choice for the student. We would obviously inform you as parents, and the support would be given to make sure that that transition was effective. But we hope, as I said, we won't be in that position in September. Oh, my lights have gone off again. Any other questions, Mr. Edmonds?
Yes, can they select 2 options from one block?
No. So I'm just trying to clear the drawings.
And if they don't have an alternative choice, what do they do?
So what we would like you to do is to select as best you can one from each block. There are then the reserve choice 5 and 6. There is also a question on the form that says, have your option choices been satisfied? You would obviously then click no and write an explanation as to why. Please do remember that these are provisional blocks, and we will do our best to accommodate everyone as much as physically possible.
We've had a question about how does one decide whether our child is capable of triple science, and I would say your science teacher would be your best person to speak to about that, but also by picking it in the triple blocks, you're getting more time for science, so you have more time to be studying that science. Do you want to add anything to that, Ms. Eyre?
No, I think that's a fantastic answer, and obviously a question that could also be put forward to the science team in the Google Meet. Happy to keep answering questions, but please do remember that the subject talks are starting now. There will be 4 mini presentations delivered by subject specialists, 6:30. Oh, I'm going to test myself now, 6:30, 6:40, 6:50, 7 o'clock. And then there will be the opportunity for you to ask questions to those subject specialists. So myself and Mr. Edmonds will stay on the call a few more minutes, but I do encourage you to now start chatting to those subject specialists. All of the Google Meet links can be found on the letter that was emailed to you on Monday.
Miss Eyre, would you like me to read any other questions out?
I think we'll take a couple more questions and then we'll leave people to go and speak to the subject specialists.
I'm skimming through because a number of questions are about specifically science or Arabic or maths, so they can be answered by those subjects. And if they're not, obviously you can come back and ask us those questions if you need to. We've had a question about, can we have a capability test to have best understanding of where my child fits in?
Oh, interesting. I think that the best way to support with that would be to speak to myself and also to speak to Laura Murphy, so we can ensure that the right combination of subjects are being selected by your child. So we already know your child. We obviously are teachers of them. We can speak to their current subject teachers. We can look at their report data and make an informed decision together about the best choices. So please do email me and we can look into that further.
Great. So I've got some triple science questions. I've got some Arabic questions. There's one about, is it accepted that students take IGCSE Arabic A plus the other 9 subjects, so they get 10 GCSEs? Does that sound right?
Yeah, we've tried to create a curriculum that ensures that every student has the option to do 4 option subjects plus their core compulsory subjects. So yeah, there's definitely the ability for a student, if they have the desire, the aptitude and the kind of resilience to manage 10 GCSEs, then that's definitely possible. You would do your English literature, English language, mathematics, double science, and then you can do your 4 option subjects plus your Arabic, which will take you to 10 GCSEs. For some students that decide to also take further mathematics, our curriculum allows you the possibility to potentially then take 11 GCSEs. We've tried to create a curriculum that is flexible, that has lots of opportunities to be tailored to give your child a unique timetable and a unique qualification set.
I've had a couple of questions about students who missed taster sessions today, Miss Eyre, and what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So teachers have been informed that they needed to have sent your child the video of that session. If that has not happened, please can you email me? Mr. Edmonds, would you be able just to add my email onto the chat bar so people have got a copy of it?
Yep.
Thank you very much. I am conscious that we're encroaching on your subject specialist time, so I think we will leave it there for any further questions. You've got my email address, so please do reach out if there's anything more that we can help you with. Thank you again for your time. I hope that this has been informative and that the rest of the evening goes well for you.